So welcome everyone to Deep Ministries. Welcome. I started this series, a study, Christ's letters from Christ way. And I'm reading a book. And this is a book, I got the PDF version, as I mentioned last week, online. It says it's the original version. However, I did order the book. I haven't received it yet. So we're going to continue with this book until its end. It's a book, and the person gave us that says her name or his name is the recorder. These are channeled letters from Christ, according to the recorder. Channeled letters from Christ himself came back to us so that we can understand it's coming, we can understand who we are, we can understand why he came. And as I went over last week, I did put a warning about the study that we're going into. These letters go against conventional teaching. Only with discernment and leading of the Holy Spirit can we know if these are Christ's letters. Spiritual work is needed in understanding these letters. We have to find the proof within. We have to go within, and we have to be in spirit. We have to be spiritually awakened for these letters to make sense for us to get the understanding of these letters. And we started with chapter 1 last week, and we still haven't finished up. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue with chapter 1. We're going to continue with chapter 1. And if you want to catch up, you could catch us on YouTube and also here on Facebook if you want to watch, catch up on chapter 1 and start with and continue. And these we went over last week. And this, as I mentioned last week, this is going to be a different study from what I'm doing, because this is not chapter 1, it's letter 1. It's letter 1, because I'm learning while I'm reading. I already listened to it on YouTube. You could read also, there's an audio version, but believe me, I'm seeing stuff here that I didn't even hear when I listened to listen to it on YouTube. So I'm gonna continue. Christ letters, Christ speaks its truth. I think I stopped it at letters to the church. A message to all churches. This is where I stopped last week. I do not I try to recap sometimes. I'll do a main bullet points from each chapter each week, but we have to, if you hear this message and you want to understand, start from the beginning, you have to go back to the message last week. It's individual. It's an individual work. There's something that has to click inside of you for us to be hunger and want more. And if it clicks, if you want to hear more, I know God sent you here to this ministry, and just continue to search. He said, search and you shall find, knock and it shall be open. So I'm going to start this week my message to all the churches. My message to all the churches, and this is where I'm starting. And please, if you hear this, please comment. Let me hear how the Holy Spirit's using you. Let me hear your testimony. Let me hear why you want to listen to this. Let me hear you. Please comment on comment. Let me hear you. Let me hear what's going on in everybody's life, how God's using you at this time, and why you chose to listen to these letters. Okay. My message to all churches. I, the Christ, have come expressly to tell you the truth about the origins of the human personality. I will explain exactly why and how mankind has given a natural, inbuilt propensity for self-will and a controlling desire for self-gratification and self-defense. And he says, this is not sin. This is not sin, but part of the natural creative process. There is no punishment from an eye, oh God. Men, through the willful and harmful exercise of their ego power, draw to themselves their own punishment. Note well, for this reason, just as scientific school textbooks become redundant, and as the human mind discovers and absorbs more advanced scientific knowledge, so should the present form of Christianity, built upon spurious doctrines centered around my crucifixion, be allowed to die a natural death. This is, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read this first paragraph again. And remember, this is a book on Christ's letters by the person, was channeled to a person who described themselves as the recorder. They don't take no input of writing this book. They said it's all from the Christ consciousness. It's all, this book is, according to this recorder, this book is all directly come from the Christ consciousness. And if you read last week, it talks about there's a significant change that took place in the 20th century. And it described it as the lack of universal love. And you have to go back and listen to last week's episode, last week's presentation to get it. But just to recap, you have to go back and listen to last week presentation to get a background of this book. So I'm going to read this again. I'm going to take my time. So according to this book, Christ consciousness had to come because he seems that we were losing our way. And it seems as if it wasn't like that before until the 20th century. That means 1900s to the 20th, to the 20s. So something happened where a total eradication of universal love. And without that universal love, we're not able to raise in our divine consciousness. And this, according to this recorder, according to this is why the Christ consciousness found a body, because according to him, this Christ consciousness, I'm not going to say him or her, he's not able, because this body can't hold Christ anymore. I know we taught in the church, Christ is coming, Christ is coming. We got to be careful. He can't come back. He was crucified. He got bigger in his crucifixion. I don't know. I would say not bigger, more powerful. So this little flesh can't hold him again. So he has to use, and this is how you have to use your mind, because we see this world as physical. And if you listen to my ministry, this world is not physical. It's not as solid as we think. It's constantly moving. It's because of the lower frequency that we're in. It looks solid. We're all energy. We're frequency. We are electromagnetic beings. We're consciousness in this flesh. All right. So let me read this again. And the heading says, my message to all the churches. My message to all the churches. I, the Christ, have come expressly to tell you the truth about the origins of the human personality. Our personality. I will explain exactly why and how mankind has been given a natural, inbuilt propensity for self-will and a controlling desire for self-gratification and self-defense. We are just, the way we are, it's just naturally God-given being, our personality, the way we act, our self-defense, self-gratification. What we do is just part of our divine makeup. This is what this, according to this letter, this is not sin, but part of the natural creative process. And according to this recorder, there is no punishment from an I. There is no punishment from an I. So whatever we are so divine that we understand that. I think one of my episodes, the kids talk about that we even chose to come on this earth. We even chose to come on earth. So when the Bible talk about renewing our mind, we probably don't even understand all that. How much we have to renew our mind. Because growing up, we hear there is a punishment. Read in the Bible, there is punishment. I get to find out that we can't read the Bible literally. There's punishment from an I. So according to this recorder, there is no punishment from an I. The way we are, I know it doesn't look right. I know people act in ways that we have to wonder. It's just according to this, their natural creative process. It's just who they are. It's just who you are. Don't try to change for anybody. You were created that way. But there is a cause and effect. And in saying that, we still, whatever we do depends on the life we live. So yes, there's probably no punishment from an I, but if you do bad things, you're gonna continue attract bad things. There's a cause and effect. I'm gonna do a study on the universal law. Men, through the willful and harmful exercise of their ego power, draw to them their own punishment. Our ego, our ego. I know those who take psychology classes, they hear about the ego. It's the same thing we call the flesh. We draw it because of our ego. Our ego is one that wants to be in control all the time. Because of our ego power, then we draw to themselves our own punishment. So what we do, we're creating our own punishment by our ego. For this reason, just as scientific school textbooks become redundant, as the human mind discovers and absorbs more advanced scientific knowledge, so should the present form of Christianity, built upon spurious doctrines centered around my crucifixion, be allowed to die a natural death. Be allowed to die a natural death. Mm. 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 Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hey, your present global crisis introducing a new breakdown of international law and laying the foundation for future global terrorism clearly indicates that no religion in the world possesses the requisite knowledge and effective leadership to initiate changes in human mental patterns, which will lead directly to peace and prosperity. Yeah, we've seen it. No religion in the world possess the requisite knowledge and effective leadership to initiate changes in human mental patterns, which will lead to peace and prosperity. So no religion can influence the society. No religion, and it has to be individual. Individual. Religion can't do it. It's an individual walk. It's individuality. So the true spiritual leaders will be able to show their congregations how and why modern mindsets have created the calamities and horrors which have been created in consciousness and are only just beginning to make themselves fully felt in your midst as diverse forms of pestilence and earthquakes, floods, famines, wars, revolution, other tragedies. Oh, wow. Be assured, no evil which comes to your earth is a natural disaster. Really? Really? Everything inimical to your perfect welfare is bred first in your human consciousness. In your human consciousness, and then given form with your global experience. This is what I tried to tell the Jews when I walked on the earth and wept. When they laughed and refused to believe it, they called me a madman. Let not the churches make the same mistakes. Oh, wow. Not the churches make the same mistake. I like this part. This is so powerful. The true spiritual leaders. The true spiritual leaders. Mm, the true spiritual leaders. My, my, my. My, 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 my. Wow. Mm. So let me go by this. Let me go through this line by line. Let me see. The true leaders, the true spiritual leaders will be able to show their congregation how and why modern mindsets, our mindsets, have created the calamities and arrows which have been created in our consciousness and are only just beginning to make themselves fully felt in your minds, in the midst, felt in your midst as diverse forms of pestilence and earthquakes, floods, famines, wars, revolution, and other tragedies. So all these things that we talk about, all these things, it says it's first created in our consciousness. It created in our consciousness and then manifest in the physical as earthquakes, floods, famines, wars, and tragedies. Be assured, no evil which comes to your earth is a natural disaster. And we all think that God is doing this. We all think the floods, the earthquakes, and everything is natural. How is this coming to form? What have we done for these things to be coming up on the earth? I was just looking at what's on the news this morning, what's going on in one of those countries in the Middle East. I think that place where Gaddafi was, I can't remember the name, and the destruction that's over there. And I was thinking, oh my God, really, Father, would you have done all this disaster? So there's a hidden hand. Is that hidden hand guiding our consciousness, guiding the way we think? We talked about the beast last week. Could that beast be guiding our consciousness, guiding our thinking? We have to, oh my gosh, guard our minds and our thoughts and causing this total destruction on this earth at this time. All these, in Haiti, they've gotten so much earthquake, famine in Africa. Oh, Ken, I hope as I read this book, we can understand how we can stop this from happening. It says all this. This is what the new spiritual leaders is going to talk about, the leaders that's rising up. Are these spiritual leaders going to have to tell their congregations how and why our modern mindsets? And this wasn't everything, it seems that it's us, it's this generation from the 1900s come along. These things is happening. Why? this new spiritual leader, this is what they have to explain to the church, to the new church that's coming. And this says every inimical, everything inimical to your perfect welfare is bred first in your human consciousness. So if we're thinking things that's, I know I do all the time, things of fear, things that doesn't line up with what we want. I saw someone today on Facebook, that person I follow said, create the world you want to live in. So it seems that we're able to do that. When we let us not think about things that we don't want to happen. And when give a form within your global experience. And he says, this is what I tried to tell the Jews when I walked the earth and wept when they laughed and refused to believe it. They called me a madman. They called me a madman. So according to this recorder, the Christ consciousness is Jesus when he walks the earth. And he said, this is what I tried to tell the Jews when I walked the earth and wept when they laughed and refused to believe it. How many people hear me saying this today is probably going to do the same thing? And he says, they called me a madman. They called me a madman. How many people going to hear this presentation and probably going to think the same thing? And yet we think we're waiting for Christ to come. We're waiting for Christ to come. How many of us is going to hear this and say the same thing? Is Christ coming right now and telling us the right thing? And somebody's going to be, oh, deep ministry, you're crazy. Deep ministry, you need to repent. Deep ministry, that's not of God. And I'm hearing in my spirit now, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And I hope we change our consciousness at this time of pouring out of Christ. Will we know it's Christ? Will we recognize it's Christ? Or we're so busy caught up in tradition and religion. It seems that we were created with that God aspect of us that we should be hearing. We should be hearing what's right and what's wrong. Something in us supposed to be triggering at this time. Or that divine consciousness in us, that attachment to our Creator. Recognize what's going on, recognizing the pouring out of the Holy Spirit, recognizing where we are. Okay. Let not the churches make the same mistake, because the churches have been moribund, cemented into rituals and dogmas. And let me look for that word moribund, moribund. Let me look for that word. Oh my gosh, at the point of death. At the point of death. This is what this means. Says, let not the churches make the same mistake. because the churches have been moribund, cemented into rituals and dogmas. Their priests and pastors have been unable to meet the evolving spiritual needs of ardent seekers of truth. As a result, the churches are emptying. If they are to endure, the churches must put aside their differences and have the humility to accept that inspiration does not necessarily come to earth in ways acceptable to themselves. They must remember that I, the Christ, was not acceptable to the Jews. The churches must keep open mind and hearts to receive whatever they intuitively feel is a higher truth than that to which they presently cling, and to abandon the old beliefs which have permitted the beast to take control of human thoughts. I just mentioned that earlier. The beast, the beast, the beast. And I see two words, beast and wept. I want to know, that's beast and wept. They're in all caps. And I'm wondering if these are acronyms. If you listen to this message and you have knowledge about the beast, it doesn't look like it's one word. It looks like this is an acronym, B-E-A-S-T. And wept. And we read in the Bible, Jesus wept. I notice it's all caps. And it's W-E-P-T. W-E-P-T. And I think that's an acronym too. That's an acronym. So beast and wept. Those are acronyms. Okay, I'm gonna start again. This message is so good. Let not the church make the same mistake, because the churches have been moribund at a place, cemented. They can't bend, cemented into rituals and dogmas. Their priests and pastors have been unable to meet the evolving spiritual needs of ardent seeker of truth. You have these children coming up and asking questions. And instead of, the churches aren't able to answer these spiritual, not just young people, other people coming, the church is unable, but they're cemented, look at the word cemented, in dogmas and rituals. Oh my gosh. And that's why, and it says, as a result, the church are emptying. If the churches are to endure, the churches must put aside their differences and have the humility to accept that inspiration does not necessarily come to earth in ways acceptable to themselves. We put God, we put our divine creator in such a box that he can only, the church, he can only be this and he can only be that. Anything that goes around, it seems as if it's devilish and people are, and it's foolish and people need to repent. Oh my gosh. They must remember that I, the Christ, that's the biggest thing, was not acceptable to the Jews. Was not acceptable to the Jews. The churches must keep open minds and hearts to receive whatever they intuitively feel is a higher truth than that to which they presently cling, and to abandon old beliefs which have permitted the beast to take control of human thoughts. Oh my gosh, the beast. We're waiting for the beast. The beast is already here. And I think I have a sister in Connecticut that says that long time ago. The beast is not one person, it's a system of control. It's a system of control. And permit the beast to take control. Why is the beast taking control? It tells us here. Why is the beast taking control? Our religious dogma. Our religious dogma, it talks about concretely. We can't move left nor right. Mm? The church has to go forward, and we have to change. We can't be that rigid. Every day God is pouring out. It says, why did we think? It says, man's gonna dream dreams, or young men, things just, it's gonna be pouring out. Just like our history, just like religion, things are changing. It's not what we thought growing up. It's not what we think growing up. It's divine revelation. It's what coming into your spirit in spite of, and what I noticed, that your revelation doesn't come far from the word. It's just a deeper understanding of the Bible. It's a deeper understanding of the Bible. And here it is. Here it is. It's going to talk about how not to allow the beast to take control of our thoughts. Stop watching TV. That's one of those. That's mine. It's a system to keep us down, to stop us from elevating to to our divine consciousness. It's the beast is a system that's stopping us from knowing who we are. Returning, stopping us from returning to our divinity. This is the beast. Pray sincerely with all your souls, minds, hearts, for true enlightenment, rather than reiteration of old and false beliefs. Wake up and accept that these rituals, oh my God, when I hear the word rituals, my heart, oh, and past beliefs have not fulfilled my words to mankind. When I promised that, oh my gosh, if Sister Bev could hear this, greater things than I did. Oh, Shiki, Jesus. Would you do? Meanwhile, until true enlightenment comes to you, after much meditation and prayer, teach, demonstrate, and live. Not just prayer, meditation. Not just prayer, but also meditation. I have to do this. This is how we become enlightened. This is how we overcome the beast. This is how we overcome the beast. Pray sincerely with all your souls, minds, and hearts for true enlightenment rather than reiteration of old and false beliefs. Wake up and accept that these rituals and past beliefs have not fulfilled my words to mankind. When I promised, let me highlight this. So our beliefs today, me and my sister talk about this all the time. When God says, greater things than I did would you do. It says that in the word. Are we doing greater things than what Christ did? We will do. Why? It's because of the beast and our ego. Let me highlight this. Let me highlight this in red. Let me highlight this. Greater things than I do would you do. Meanwhile, until true enlightenment comes to you, and how do we get enlightenment? Enlightenment, let me look for the meaning of this word too. Enlightenment. Let me get a good meaning of enlightenment. I have to remember to paint my enlightenment. Enlightenment. Let me get a true enlightenment meaning of enlightenment. What does it mean to be enlightened? In my mind, to be enlightened is to know who we are, is to who we really are, to be enlightened. Enlightenment. Let me hear what the mirror. Let me see. Who can give us a good dictionary meaning of enlightenment? So before I go to Blasky. Okay, I can't find one, so let me go to Blasky. If she has one. Good meaning of enlightenment. True enlightenment, where we can hear the leading of the Holy Spirit, where we can hear the direction of our higher self, where we can become divine conscious, not just dogma, not just rituals, that not just the things that we've heard, what God is saying. Because he says, he tells us greater things than I did would you do. If I can find Blasky enlightenment. Good meaning of enlightenment. No, no. There the to live in spiritual, I saw it a while ago. Live in spiritual enlightenment. I don't like that one. Enlightenment. Where are my good enlightenment? Well, I'll come back with it. I'll come back with enlightenment. Oh my God. It says enlightenment. Enlightened. Enlightenment. Mm, this is the age of enlightenment. Enlightenment in Buddhism. Okay, so I'll come back. I'll find a good meaning of that. I have to remember to take my dictionary with me. I'd like to know true enlightenment rather than reiteration. So if you're out there today, I know there's some of us that when we read the Bible, we can't read it the way we used to understand it. When you read the Bible, you're feeling a different understanding. You're getting something else from the word when you read it, other than the literal meaning of what we read. I know we grew up in different religion, and we learn so many different things. We in the Bible, the literal Joe, but and I'm gonna put this out there too. If anybody watch this man, and he tells you the different levels of understanding to the Bible. They have to take God out of this box. Louis J. Armstrong Ministries. This man can tell you, break down this word, and he's only getting one understanding of it. And there's so many, there's different levels. When the Bible talk about higher heights and deeper depths, there's just so many levels of understanding. And the church has to be open to this, else religion is going to die, as we just read. The church as we know, it's going to be dead. A true church, oh my God, I'm waiting for that church, is welcoming to the different enlightenment that's taking place. No, you know what, Pastor? I, I don't see Moses as just Moses. I don't see Adam and Eve as just Adam and Eve. I'm getting Adam, and just gonna put this out there. Adam and Eve. Adam was male and female, and what happened in the garden? It's a separation of the masculine and feminine energy. What if you're in a church and someone could say that to you? Why did the curse? What about the serpent? The serpent says, if you eat this fruit, you won't literally dead. You know, you won't dead, but you will die. You'll fall in consciousness. You fall in consciousness because we were so divine. We could hear, we have direct direct communication with our creator. We fell in consciousness. What if you're a body of church and you hear these young people come and tell you? What if someone comes and says, you know what, Pastor? I know, I think there's reincarnation. We have lived many different lives. We have lived many different lives. We're divine beings, and we're just come to experience this. Maybe we're part of helping to overcome this beast system. What if someone said to you, Pastor, Bishop, I don't think that beast is a direct person. I think beast is an acronym. Help me to understand it. I think it's a system. It's not, I don't think. What if someone come and said to you, Pastor, I don't think Christ is literally coming back to earth. I think he's so divine, he's going to send his consciousness to wake us up at this time. It's not going to be physical, it's going to be spiritual. Huh? What if someone comes to you and says, Pastor, why aren't we living this greater things than I did that Jesus talked about? Huh? Jesus said, greater things would you do? Hmm? What if you're at this church and all that? What would you do? Oh, go sit in that. We, as leaders, have to be able to answer these questions. Hmm? What if I heard someone says this is not mine? But what if Abel came kill Abel? Is we killing our divinity, or is we not listening to our spirituality? What if Cain is our flesh, is our ego? Hmm? What if Ezekiel and Daniel and all of them, what if they're the spiritual aspect of us? Hmm? What if we're caught up in this flesh and we're so powerful? What if what if, Pastor, those men that's in psych units, it's just their spirituality, their flesh can't hold their spirituality. Hmm? Their spirit man it's too much for them for that. Hmm? What if these are questions that the church has to and another one, crystals. Hmm? Why did Christ tell why did Christ tell um the priests to put cumin and thummim in their priestly garment? What does that mean? Hmm? This is what the next church gonna look like. This is what the next church is gonna look like. Enlightenment. No concrete, egotistical rituals of past beliefs. It's now. What is it saying now? What is the Holy Spirit saying now? Okay, I'm just going to read this. We have permitted the beast to take control of human thought. Pray sincerely with all your souls, mind, hearts for true enlightenment rather than reiteration of old and false beliefs. Old and false beliefs. This book is saying that's why Christ is like your mother in the other room, and hear the kids acting up, and don't, and she want to rest, she want to go to sleep, and she has to come out and be like, kids, you need to stop. You're going in the wrong path. You're going in the wrong direction. There's a system called the beast that's hindering your enlightenment, that's hindering you from going back to your true divinity. You have to wake up. So this is what this book is about. I'm not here to tell you what to think or what to believe. You have to feel it within yourself. We don't understand we're not supposed to be expressing our beliefs on anyone. We have each and every one, even your children. Those are divine souls. These are divine souls, and they can express themselves. Just like how we hear from God, everybody can hear from God. And we read earlier, it's not your sin. It's not, you haven't done anything wrong. It's not, no, it's just, you're just ego. And whatever you do, for every action, there's a reaction. We have to remember that. Whatever you think, someone said something about me yesterday, and not yesterday, and I wanted to wish bad for that person. And then I'm like, nope. Don't wish bad for anybody. We hear that growing up. It's going to come back to you. Your thoughts, your brain doesn't know who you're talking about. It think it's talking about you. So things that comes into our lives, we have to stop blaming people for it. It's you, it's me, it's us. It's us. We're dictating the direction we're going right now in this world. If we're in lack, we're dictating with the help of the beast. That's telling us, the beast system that's telling us who we are. We have to be enlightened prior medication. And it says, pray sincerely with all your souls, mind, hearts for true enlightenment, rather than reiteration of old and false beliefs. Wake up and accept that these rituals and past beliefs have not fulfilled my words to mankind when I promised greater things than I did would you do. Meanwhile, until true enlightenment comes to you, after much meditation and prayer, teach, demonstrate, and live. Much meditate. We talk about prayer, but we don't talk about meditation. We need to add that to our daily life. Meditation, it just teaches us to calm our mind. I know I meditate, but I'm still learning. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes my mind is all over the place and I can't focus. So we can ask direction from Christ. We can ask him direction on how to meditate. Brotherly love. Let me highlight meditation and prayer. I love this. I'm learning while I'm reading. I'm highlighting. Brotherly love with all the strength of soul, heart, and mind, minute by minute in your daily lives. This is it. This is what we have to express. Brotherly love with all the strength of soul, heart, and mind, minute by minute in your daily lives. We have to renew our mind. Think of love, loving our brothers. I know it's not easy on a day. It says minute by minute in your daily lives. Because to combat the global destructive consciousness forces, humanity must make every effort to move on swiftly to the next stage of its development. Again, to combat the global destructive consciousness forces, humanity must make every effort to move on swiftly to the next stage of its development. What does that mean? We're going higher and higher. We're going higher. So there's a global disruptive consciousness. It sounds like it's a global effort. It's a global effort to lead us in the wrong path, to lead us into this dogma. What's the other word? Ritualistic dogma. Hmm? From that universal love. From that universal love. It's working hard to keep us from that universal love. Urgent need for higher vision. They put this in red. Urgent need for higher vision. We're too local. We keep our spirituality only to this physical world. Urgent need for a higher vision. It must be widely accepted there is a higher vision to strive to implement in your daily lives. It is only by reaching for a higher vision that the physical world will be rescued from wholesale annihilation. It is only by reaching for a higher vision that the physical world will be rescued from wholesale annihilation. See? The physical, if we're worried about the world, if we're worried about what's going on in the world, I know we're not gonna help everybody. Not everybody's gonna listen to us, but we can start by ourselves. We can start by raising our consciousness. We can start by seeking this higher vision. Wholesale annihilation. Let's see what this word, let me look upon this world. This look like annihilation, destruction to me. Destruction. Graphic. Complete destruction or obliteration. Complete destruction. It is only by reaching for a higher vision that the physical world will be rescued from wholesale annihilation, a total destruction. If we want to save the world, we got to raise our consciousness. We're going to reach higher and higher. Without the vision, either for the self or the world, there can be no spiritual evolution or the achievement of those things greatly desired. So without the vision, the higher vision, either for self, either for you or the world, there can be no spiritual evolution or the achievement of those things greatly desired. We know the things that we greatly desired. At the present time, your perception of life is one of travail and deprivation. Travail and deprivation. Our lives are filled with so many disappointments and lack. So many disappointment and lack. Because these beliefs are shockingly depicted and reinforced by your TV viewing. Talked about the television earlier. They later bring upon you the misery you hope will never happen to you. These beliefs are shockingly reinforced by the TV viewing. They later bring upon you the misery you hope will never happen. I don't think we understand how toxic our television is. Somebody call it tell-a-vision. Tell-a-vision, not the truth. It's just a vision, what their vision, not our vision, to lead our consciousness. I know I was thinking the other day, stop watching all violence. We don't know if it's true. That's the point we're at when we see how many people getting killed in Jamaica, how many people getting killed in Chicago and New Haven. Listen, don't just watch it with your eyes. Don't let it seep into your consciousness. I'm not saying this is it, but I'm feeling like they tell a vision out there and then you put it in your consciousness and then you create what needs these things want you to create, what they want you to create, and then it happens. This is basically what this book is saying. The beast system, that's how it works. This is the beast system. They put it out there, oh, we're gonna be war in with Russia. And then everybody have it in their consciousness, whether good or bad. It doesn't have to be good or it doesn't have to be bad. And then give this thing energy. Oh, a storm's coming, and yeah. And now, if you read last week, it tells you all these things happen because of us. They give us a vision and then we create it. Can't we create our own vision? Therefore, to save you from your own folly expressed through the media and TV, the human consciousness must be speedily uplifted to see what I saw in the desert. And remember, he's talking about Christ, when Christ was in the desert 40 days and 40 nights. Something happened to him. Something happening to him. He has an awakening. He says, therefore, to save you from your own folly expressed through the media and TV, the human consciousness must be speedily uplifted to see what I saw in the desert. The reality of love behind and within all existence. This is what he saw in the desert. The reality of love behind and within all existence. He's telling you what he saw in the desert. The reality of love behind and within all existence. We hear in the Bible how much we're loved. Behind us and within us. Oh my gosh. Behind us and within us. Mm. When this great truth is both perceived and warmly acknowledged, the reality of love will begin to manifest itself in multiple ways in everything that in the environment itself. So this is what according last in our first in part one, this is what it tells us that has been missing since the 20th century. And even in it seems as if in the 20th century they came with the Big Bang too, and about the beginning of the universe. There something happened in the 20th century. May hopefully as we go along we'll understand. But in part one, it talks about the missing of the universal love has been that's one of the things that's been causing so much destruction in the earth. And it says now according to these letters, Christ is telling us that what he saw in the desert. He says, let's start over. Therefore, to save you from your own folly expressed through the media and TV, the human consciousness must be speedily uplifted to see what I saw in the desert. The reality of love behind and within all existence. How everything is created in love. And it's also in us and it's around us. We have to remember that everything is created with love, including us. When the great truth is both perceived and warmly acknowledged, the reality of love will begin to manifest. We have to accept this love itself in multiple ways in every living thing and in the environment ourselves. So we when we complain about what's going on in our environment, we can see that we have a role to play. We have a role to play in healing our environment, in healing our children, in healing the families, in healing our communities. The experience of abundance and joy will reinforce the consciousness of abundance and joy. And so a spiritual spiral of ever more exalted and wondrous living will be set in motion. You know, these are the things we long for, and we're not seeing it. You know, some of us not. Abundance and joy. You know, abundance and joy. So it comes by accepting the reality of love. You know, when the true. This is another uppercase word, TRUE. I hope I get to understand. Somehow when I see all words in bold letters, I'm thinking that it's an acronym. So it says, when the true nature of being is fully understood, mm, when the true nature of being is fully understood, humanity will move on to the next rung of spiritual evolution and will put into motion a new and blessed form of human endeavor and personal experience. To achieve these goals, humanity must first gain insight into what and who you are. And I'm going to stop here today. And I'm going to continue with what and who you are. So it says, when the true nature of being is fully understood, humanity will love will move on to the next rung of spiritual evolution. And it seems that in everything we see in every religion you read, there's a spiritual evolution that has to take place. We can't be concrete. We can't be ritualistic. And only when that evolution means changing, you know. There's a spiritual evolution that has to take place. And that's probably why we're on earth. We weren't created just to come here and sit down. Someone said before, they're sitting down in church and get seasoned. We weren't created for that. We created to go higher and higher and higher. Go back to whom we came from. And two, I'm wondering if our spiritual evolution helps our environment, helps our children, helps the world we live in as we evolve spiritually. So it's not only for our benefit. We have to remember that it's a worldwide, it's an environment. That's how important it is for us to evolve, for us to evolve. So when the true humanity has been full understood, humanity will move on to the next rung of spiritual evolution and will put I'm trying to- we'll move on to the next rung of spiritual evolution and will put into motion a new and blessed form of human endeavor and personal experience. So we have to evolve. We have to evolve. We have to evolve. So, and it says to achieve these goals, humanity must first gain insight into who we are. And that's going to be my next lesson this weekend. Who are we? Who are we? This is so deep. I just love this. So I'm not going to rush it. It's probably going to go up to part 50 because we have to get this. And if anyone listening to me today, thank you for listening. Also, if you're going to rewatch it, please, thank you all for everything. And also, yes, comment if you like this, please. And I'm just going to tell you, you can't just read this book once. To get it, you have to read it over and over. You can also listen it on YouTube, but I have to warn you, this book is the PDF version I'm reading is the original. And some of the stuff I read here, I didn't hear them on listening to them on YouTube. So I would really recommend the original version. And as I tell you, as I gave you the warning at the beginning of this presentation, this is not something that you're going to get. This is not about not getting evidence. This is personal. This is enlightenment. This is your spiritual evolution and taking place. All of us have to do our spiritual work on ourselves. You have to know if whatever this book is saying, it's true. We're not here to convince you of anything. It just feels real in my spirit, and that's why I bring it on my platform to share it with whomever feel the need to watch it and to listen to it. And if you do, God is working on your spiritual evolution. God is working on your enlightenment. Continue to push, continue to trust that thing within you. It's not always easy. It's lonely at this place. Not everybody understand. Not everybody is gonna accept what you say, but I'm learning. They don't have to, because last week we see it says eventually. Eventually, all souls will be evolved. Eventually. So if you're telling somebody about this and they're not getting it, they'll get it eventually. So we don't need to be beating anybody over the head, but we have to remain in our truth. We have to remain, there's just something discerning spirit, there's something with us that know um, we're evolving and there's something going on in this realm that we can't put it in words for everyone to understand. So be blessed, everybody. Comment, put your comment in and let me hear what you think about this lesson and how it's helping you. Until weekend, I think I'm going to try and do one this weekend. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day, everyone. And thank you for listening.